You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sound. A dimension of sight. A dimension of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into the Twilight Zone.
Dubious Khan's talking about what's on the TV. Maybe smart and surreal, or really just stupid and sleazy. Talking about all the good and bad the boobs you've ever had. Come along and take a look into the idiot box. Come along and take a look into the idiot box.
Greetings all, I'm Dubious Khan, and welcome into the Idiot Box, a showcase of the best, worst, and weirdest that television has to offer. One of my favorite series of all time is The Twilight Zone, the anthology series that used sci-fi tropes and elements to tell stories of the human condition, and do it in such a way that if the censors would have objected to these elements being present in a straight-up drama, it allowed these kind of stories that were a little more risque for the time to get onto the air. As a result of this and their legendary twist endings, The Twilight Zone has become a true television classic, still regarded as relevant almost 60 years after its creation. And being such a TV classic, it's left its indelible mark on pulp culture, spawning books, a major theatrical movie, a pinball machine, and, remarkably enough, a major theme park attraction. In July of 1994, the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror opened at what is now Disney's Hollywood Studios theme park at Walt Disney World. The ride was an instant success, being one of the few thrill rides available in the park at that time, and features several references throughout the various areas of the ride building to episodes of the Twilight Zone. The ride features an original story not based on any existing Twilight Zone episode. One stormy night in 1939, 5 people boarded the elevator of the Hollywood Tower Hotel. As the elevator rose, it was struck by lightning and plummeted downward. However, instead of crashing to the ground, the elevator and its occupants vanished. The hotel closed down shortly afterward, leaving the mystery of what happened to the 5 unsolved. With the success of the ride, Disney decided to go ahead and elaborate on the backstory created for it by making a TV movie for their Wonderful World of Disney program. Now, this movie aired in 1997, which technically means that this is actually the first movie ever made based on a Disney theme park attraction. Now, other reviewers who are more popular, more talented, and I will admit more learned than I am on the subject, make the case that this honor should actually go to the Country Bears movie, and I'm willing to concede that the Country Bears was the first theatrically released movie based on a Disney theme park attraction. Although interestingly enough, doing research, I discovered there's apparently a contingent who believes that the Disney-produced 2000 film Mission to Mars is actually based on an old ride from Tomorrowland, and as such, that should be considered the first film based on a Disney attraction. I don't know, does anybody even remember Mission to Mars? Anyway, I digress. Let's see how well the story the Imagineers came up with for the ride translates to a TV movie as we look at Tower of Terror. We open on Halloween 1939, where somebody appears to be casting a spell of some sort.
It is the midnight hour of ancient power, dark light of the underworld, be my
God. Oh God, oh, shoot, sorry, I accidentally hit the fast forward button. From here, things pretty much play out as they do on the ride, as child star Sally Shine arrives at the hotel. However, we also see another girl in the lobby who doesn't seem all that happy with Sally's arrival. We also see a couple who meet at the front desk. The couple, Sally, her caretaker, and one of the bellboys enter the elevator, and... we then go to an alien autopsy, where the doctor's about to get a very nasty surprise.
Don't even think about it.
I didn't know anybody was in there.
This is Buzzy Crocker, played by Steve Guttenberg in the decline of his career, and his niece Anna, played by Kirsten Dunst when her career was taking off. Buzzy is a freelance journalist who has become cynical about journalism in general, and as such makes his living selling crap stories to the tabloids.
Is any of it true?
Hey, don't kid yourself. Aside from sports and obits, most legit papers are just as bogus. Truth doesn't count. Selling papers counts.
This cynicism doesn't preclude him from still trying to sell stories to legitimate papers, such as the Los Angeles Banner. However, editor Jill Perry, played by Nia Peoples, doesn't really think much of Buzzy's ideas.
My sources tell me that a Mondo supermarket chain in L.A. has got a scam in which they're double dipping on cans, ripping off both the recycling companies and the public.
Yes, truly hard-hitting journalism in one of the largest cities in the country. Forget political corruption, there's recycling fraud afoot. Get me the district attorney, we're forming a commission. Buzzy arrives home where his neighbor reveals he let someone he thought was Buzzy's mother into his apartment. Since Buzzy's mom has been dead for a decade, he's naturally wary, especially after he finds an elderly lady who he doesn't know in his living room. The woman is Abigail Gregory, who tells Buzzy she has the inside scoop on what really happened at the hotel on Halloween.
My family lived at the hotel. Halloween is my birthday, but there was no celebration that horrible night because of her. Emmeline Partridge. She was
Sally Shine's nanny. Looks like a real witch.
She was indeed a witch. It was her black magic that made Sally and the others disappear. Earlier that night, I followed Miss Partridge into the hotel basement, and what I saw there I'll never forget. She was a witch. And from her book of souls, she summoned the black powers of the underworld to curse poor Sally. But the evil magic she conjured was too strong. She couldn't control it. And later that night, it swallowed her along with Sally and the other innocent people on that elevator.
You know something? I honestly don't know what's worse, this actress's performance or the purple prose in the script. Buzzy's naturally skeptical, but Abigail gives him a key to the basement of the hotel, sure that the book which contained the spell is still there. After appealing to his ego, she succeeds in getting Buzzy to look into the story. And so Buzzy heads for the Hollywood Tower Hotel. Now, before we go on, a little behind-the-scenes information. I worked at Walt Disney World for a little over 7 years, and during my time there, I actually had an opportunity to take a backstage tour of the Tower of Terror, and it was very impressive, believe me. And the tour was actually guided by a cast member who had been there since the tower opened. And pretty much he's been there so long that he's actually written most of the spiels that the cast members say and a lot of the procedures that they have to go through. I got the opportunity to take a minute to talk to him about the relationship of the production of this movie to the ride itself. And as it turns out, despite popular belief, only the exteriors of this movie were actually shot at the Hollywood Tower ride at Disney World. Everything else, all the interiors and whatnot, were shot at a soundstage in Hollywood later, which means that the lobby set you see here, although it is a meticulous recreation of the lobby at the actual ride, is actually a replica, and a damn good one too. Arriving at the hotel, Buzzy runs into Chris Todd, played by Mike McShane. Chris is the caretaker of the hotel, although he prefers to be called Q.
I can quartermaster. If you need it, I can get it for you. My great-granddaddy built this place.
Well, that means...
That means my grandpa was Dewey Todd, the bellhop who disappeared that night. Great-granddude was so freaked out by what happened, he closed the place up. It's in his will. Nobody touches nothing until somebody figures out what happened to Grandpa Dewey. Spooky, huh?
What did happen?
No clue. But I'm the last living relative, man. When the mystery gets solved, I inherit the works. Cha-ching!
Q leaves Buzzy to explore the hotel on his own, and Buzzy makes his way to the basement. He finds the book and prepares to leave, but discovers the flower he left in the vase in the lobby has disappeared. After several other odd events, Buzzy leaves the hotel, but we get confirmation that he's definitely not alone. story is more true than Buzzy realizes, and he's pretty certain he can sell it to the Banner. He just needs one more thing to make it perfect.
If my friends see this, my life is over.
Oh, perfect. You look great. Oh, come on. Beautiful. Look, by the time I doctor the pictures, no one will recognize you anyway.
If they do, I'm moving to France.
An actress Buzzy hired named Claire Poulet arrives, but it turns out she's the wrong age to stand in for Miss Partridge. Buzzy decides to hire her anyway, but before they can start shooting the pictures, they start hearing music coming from somewhere in the hotel. Buzzy goes to investigate, finding his way down to the kitchen. If he starts drunkenly rambling to the hotel bartender, I'm out. Anna arrives and the music cuts out. They keep searching the kitchen and, much to their surprise, get their first real ghostly encounter. And then attempted murder.
It's a dummy.
You know, I could have been an actor.
Oh.
Except I can't act.
Ah, don't put yourself down, Mike. You're still getting work, unlike the majority of the cast of this movie. While Anna's terrified, Buzzy is thrilled and has a plan.
Tomorrow, we're gonna bring Jill down here from the Banner. She's gotta see this for herself. This is the most incredible story in history. I can prove there were real ghosts.
Tomorrow's Halloween.
Well, this won't end badly. Buzzy goes to pitch the story of the hotel to Jill, and, well...
So, what happened? Where did everybody go?
It's the best part. They didn't.
Excuse me?
They didn't go anywhere. They're still at the hotel. They're ghosts.
Hey, Steve, buddy, could you maybe tone it down a little? I mean, I realize your career was on the downturn and this was only a TV movie, but maybe you could pretend to give a shit about your performance? You're making Buzzy come off like a creepy stalker. An assessment Jill apparently agrees with as she tells Buzzy to get out. Buzzy insists this is the biggest story of his life, which doesn't impress Jill at all.
Buzzy, why does it always have to be about the biggest story of your life? Why can't it just be about the truth?
This is the truth.
That's what you said 5 years ago.
Jill tells Buzzy to leave the Banner and not come back, but decides to do some research on Abigail Gregory herself. Speaking of, back at Buzzy's apartment, Abigail drops more exposition on the nature of the curse.
Well, to complete the curse, the witch has to have an identifier, something that belonged to the intended victim.
Ugh. Don't tell me this is Sally Shine's hair. Yeah.
Steve Guttenberg, professional actor. Abigail believes she can undo the curse, but she needs items belonging to the other people in the elevator. They already have Sally's hair and Miss Partridge's handkerchief, but that leaves the couple and the bellboy.
Gilbert London, Carolyn Crossan. He was an actor, dude, and she was supposed to sing at the Halloween party. Both of them had rooms, but I'm not sure which.
We'll find him.
And, this beauty belonged to Granddad Dewey.
Oh, what about Miss Partridge?
Beware of her. Evil does not die.
On occasion, however, evil does in fact nap and will steal all the blankets in the process. Claire shows up and Buzzy heads off with her to shoot some pictures, and since Q won't go into the hotel, Anna decides to go looking for Gilbert and Carolyn's things herself. Meanwhile, Claire finds out what happened 5 years ago that put Buzzy out of the legitimate journalism business.
Me with a hot story. He had a videotape. Showed the mayor taking a bribe from the mob.
Wow.
Yeah. Turns out the video was a fake.
Oh, no.
The Banner dumped the blame on me and kicked me out. No legit paper has hired me since.
Inside, Anna checks the guest ledger and finds the room numbers for Carolyn Crossan and Gilbert London. She gets another lucky break when she finds a pair of glasses belonging to Gilbert in the pigeonhole for his room. It's also a lucky break for the filmmakers since they don't have to spend any more money to build another set. Buzzy reveals to Claire that this story is his way back onto the banner. However, she seems unusually disturbed by Buzzy's motives.
So, all you care about is your story.
It's not just a story, Claire. It's redemption. It'll get me back in the game. People will listen to me again. And seriously, what do I care about some moldy old ghosts I don't even know?
She's one of them. That's not a spoiler. You should have been able to figure that out by now. Anna finds a claim check for Carolyn Crossan's luggage, but before she can find it, the ghosts make their first major appearance in person.
If anyone needs help, it's you.
Checking in. You're a bad girl.
When Anna says she wants to help the ghosts, the threats stop, and Sally gives Anna a clue.
You want to help us?
Yeah.
Can you fix the elevator?
The elevator.
We have to get to the party.
Meanwhile, at a nearby sanitarium, Jill is checking into Abigail's history, which leads to the first of several disturbing discoveries.
Well, how long has she been here exactly?
Exactly? Oh, let's see. It must have been summer. No, it was spring.
Since last spring?
Oh, my dear. Abigail's been a patient here since spring of 1940.
Thanks to the power of low budgets, Buzzy and Anna find Carolyn's suitcase and with it, a locket. But the picture inside surprises both of them, but before they can discuss it, the ghosts arrive and we see the last one of the 5.
My stage name is Claire Poulet. And maybe I'm not such a bad actress after all.
Oh wow, what a shocking twist. We never saw that coming. Back at the sanitarium, Jill manages to make more interesting discoveries.
Miss Perry. Abigail was Sally Shine's sister.
Her sister?
Back at the hotel, the ghosts tell their story, but they reveal that they really have no idea exactly what happened to put them in this situation in the first place. And then Miss Partridge shows up with more revelations.
I don't know where you came up with such a fairy story, lass, but I couldn't love Sally more if she were my own daughter. I protected her in life. And I'll continue until I get her back safe with her parents.
Emmeline wouldn't hurt Sally.
Oh, of course not.
She's a crusty old dame, but she loves the girl. Can't imagine why.
Yes, it's one of the oldest mystery tropes in the world. The one who set our hero on the path of the story is the one we should have been looking out for in the first place. Back at the hotel, the ghosts point out that the curse will be broken if they can get to the party on the 12th floor. Every Halloween, the party returns to the Tip Top Club at the top of the hotel, but at 8:05 p.m., the party ends. The ghosts have tried to get to 12 by using the stairs, but something blocks them from going any higher than the 11th floor, meaning that the only way they have to get up there is the elevator, which has been stuck on the 11th floor since 1939. And since we're running out of time to resolve anything in this movie, Buzzy suddenly has a change of heart for no good reason. Seriously.
I thought you didn't care about moldy old ghosts you didn't know.
Now I know you.
This isn't about your story?
No, it's not. I want to help you.
Then I was right about you after all.
Q admits he's a lousy mechanic and more or less a screw-up, but Buzzy and Anna talk him into helping. But not before he throws out an alternative.
Well, what about the service elevator?
And there's our last link to the ride. Jill arrives at the apartment and reveals what she found at Abigail's hospital. Jill gives Buzzy an opportunity to get back on the front page if he writes up the story. Of course, this means he won't be able to assist in breaking the curse.
Look, I'll be there as soon as I can.
But it'll be too late.
What do you want me to do?
But you promised.
Anna, I've been waiting for this chance a long time.
What about them? They've waited 60 years.
Buzzy.
I'm sorry, honey.
You lied. You said you were gonna help them, but you lied. I guess the truth doesn't matter to you.
With Buzzy dropping out, Anna and Q return to the hotel, but it turns out there was somebody else in the apartment as well. Okay, what the hell? Did Buzzy just give her a key or something? How the hell is she still getting in there? Q finally gets the power restored to the hotel, and at the banner, Buzzy tries to write the story but is conflicted over breaking his promise. And finally, Q gets to meet his grandfather.
Now, I finally got a chance to do something right. But I need your help. What do you say?
I say, let's get this party started.
And back at the banner, something finally clicks for Buzzy that bothers him about Abigail's story.
Why would Abigail make up that witchcraft stuff?
Because she is a loon.
But she was so specific about the book and the identifiers.
Irrational
and...
behavior does not come from irrational
I gotta go.
people. Wait a minute. What do you mean? Wait, you got a story to write here.
I know.
Hey, wait a minute.
Abigail arrives at the hotel with the identifiers and the book and heads for the basement. The sound of the party is heard through the hotel intercom, and Jill says something which causes Buzzy to put it all together.
Who knows? Who cares? The woman is completely nuts. She probably thinks that she's a witch.
We gotta get back to the hotel.
Why? Hey!
And so the race against the clock is on, especially when Abigail decides to cast the spell again.
I call forth the might of the starry realm to once again bring fire energy to pierce the night.
Storm. It's back.
Things are hampered because of the old wiring and circuitry of the hotel. Q sends Anna to get a voltmeter, but as she does so, she finds Abigail. Q gets the elevator working, and Anna confronts Abigail.
Don't do it, Abigail. Please.
It's already done. The spell is cast. And the elevator will crash the way it was supposed to 60 years ago.
I'm not gonna let you do it.
Buzzy and Jill arrive at the hotel just as Anna leaps onto the elevator with the ghost, trying to warn them. Sally gets off, and everyone races to the basement to stop Abigail. Anna warns the ghost that the elevator is going to crash again, and Dewey struggles to stop it. In the basement, we finally get Abigail's tragic backstory.
Sally was everybody's sweetheart. They all loved her. Even I loved her. But no one cared that Sally shined had a big sister. No. I couldn't sing, and I couldn't dance, but it was my birthday, and no one even knew that. All that mattered was Sally. Always Sally.
Yes, this is lame. And the lameness is underlined by the fact that this is a woman in her 70s still acting like she's 10 years old. This isn't sad, and it's not creepy, it's just awkward and uncomfortable. And boring. Very, very boring. Once again, the elevator gets stuck on the 11th floor, and Abigail has an allegedly touching reunion with Sally. And you already know where this is going. It turns out that the party at the Tip Top Club was supposed to be a surprise birthday party for Abigail, so cue weepy, half-assed redemption of the villain. Of course, by this point, the spell's already been cast and Abigail doesn't know the counterspell that will stop it. Everyone takes the service elevator, which shares the same shaft, up to 11. They open the maintenance hatch in the wall and try to get Anna into the service elevator. Just as Anna manages to get over there, 8:05 comes, lightning strikes the hotel again, and both elevators drop.
I forgive you, Abby.
Obviously, both groups survived, and after 60 years, the party finally begins in earnest, and the ghosts resolve their unfinished business.
Sweetheart, I'd wait a century more if I had to. Will you be my bride?
But there's still a couple more things to resolve.
Guess I missed the deadline.
But not your second chance.
Abby? Thank you for the present. I love it. And thank you, Buzzy.
Happy birthday, Abby.
And so, with the mystery solved, Q goes back into the family business.
Hey, Mr. Todd, how about a picture on your big screen? Okay, everybody, we're gonna go on 3, all right? 1, 2, 3.
And that was Tower of Terror, and it's okay, I guess. I mean, yeah, it's a late 90s TV movie and it looks and feels like it, but overall, as far as adapting the story of the ride goes, it's not bad. Steve Guttenberg might not actually give a crap about his performance, but everybody else does. Even if some of the performances veer way too close to local community theater star territory. Really, the only major problem with this movie is that it's limited by A, being a family movie, and B, being a TV movie. Thus, the dread is reduced considerably. And I can only imagine the constant commercial breaks in the original broadcast didn't help either. Now, rumor has it that Disney's been planning a theatrical version of the Tower of Terror, but as of production of this video, there's no word on when or even if it's actually going to happen. This version, however, is available on DVD and it's fairly cheap, so if you're curious or, like me, you're a diehard Tower of Terror fan and you've never seen it, it's worth a watch. Otherwise, if you don't really have any particular affection for the ride or the story or anything else pertaining to it, go ahead and skip it. I'm Dubious Khan. Join me next time for another trip into... What the hell? submitted for your approval Mr. Dubious Khan, internet reviewer, who, unknown to him, has just been handed the final piece in a puzzle that has been hounding him for the last 4 years. Now those pieces are all in place and will lead to a final picture that is a well-painted landscape entitled The Twilight Zone.
Thank you.